I will never stop finding it endlessly funny that Dave Rubin decided to publish a desperately try-hard book called Don't Burn This Book, like a year and a half before everyone on his side of the aisle, everyone in his political ideology began a full court press to ban as many books as possible across the country, while literally arguing on OAN about how it's good to burn books and using Nazi book burnings as a defense of banning books. And that campaign continues in multiple parts of the country, coming in multiple forms, all of them unacceptable and in some cases quite ridiculous. So let's start with a Texas middle school. It's named after a Black author. That school is now saying his biography isn't appropriate because some sections aren't acceptable. And so they're saying we can't let them read the biography of the guy the school they're in is named after. We don't know exactly what in the biography is supposed to be unacceptable. It has been speculated that in one of the early chapters, he talks about the fact that one of his friends was lynched. And that might be the thing that they find unacceptable because acknowledging and talking about the reality of lynching, as well as the fact that this guy was, I believe, the great grandson of a slave, acknowledging that we are not that far off of slavery. These are things that are unacceptable to many of the people engaged in mass book bannings. And so you have that. You have an Oklahoma high school English teacher placed on administrative leave earlier this week because she told students how they could access banned books outside of the school. There's a service that they could potentially use through the New York Library that would allow them access to books. You're not allowed to do that either. So it's not just that you can't give them the books or read them the books. You can't let them know how they might theoretically find the book somewhere else. And so, look, I don't think that we have time to go through all of the details, but we now have this situation where this teacher is talking about the fact that many school children are going to school and finding that the bookshelves have been stripped bare or covered because the teachers can't yet attest to every page of every book, and they have to. They are now required in some areas to personally vouch for every single book in whatever assortment of books they have available because we don't know what might slip through. What might be totally unacceptable, books that have been on those shelves for years or decades, now so dangerous that we can't chance a student might accidentally read a stray word or find out about the experience of a person who has a life kind of different than their own in some way. And so that teacher got forced out. They tried to pretend that she had like willingly resigned, and we're still going through the revolutions that since then, but. We'll have more of these details, Brett, but look, we've been tracking this now for months. It's 400 books here, list of 1,000 there. This is their hobby now, is trying to find more books to throw onto the heap.
This combined with the elitist Republican backlash to higher education proves that they don't want you to know anything. They don't want you to know anything. And I definitely want to say, if you want a kid to go to the library, tell them that you're banning something in it, because otherwise they're not gonna go. And then the things that these guys who call us snowflakes are triggered by, they are so snowflakey. They're triggered by the possibility that some truth might be hidden in these books, that they're gonna ban reading, essentially. And in some cases, they've banned books that aren't even in the library. That seems like a story you're gonna get to in a second. But like these folks who are, as John points out, against censorship, they say, for freedom, they say, and against carefully curating how they're gonna indoctrinate kids, are going through page by page and removing stuff from an area, not where they're forcing you to read anything, but simply a place where books sit on shelves. They are afraid you might exercise your freedom and go find knowledge.
Yeah, it's like, we've been talking about the need for like a revolution and people to be more rebellious and everything. Like, I did not expect that simply going to the library and reading a book would be an act of rebellion, but they're making it that. And it's not just the banning of the books, that would be bad enough, but the overall demonizing of higher education. I mean, you're seeing that constantly in the attacks against the student debt cancellation, let alone all of the pundits whose entire career now, Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro, they're saying to defund universities, don't go to college. as well as the demonizing of teachers themselves, trying to pretend that they're all predatory pedophiles. These people absolutely despise the idea of an educated citizenry.
And I do want to say,
yes,
like the one through line of much conservative thought is two sides. Like they definitely want to undo whatever we believe, whatever people like me believe in, right? But they also they pretend that government run stuff is bad because the idea of government run stuff is bad. So public schools, public education, the post office, the fire department, everything, that they want to privatize it because government is bad. That's false. They want to privatize it because they want to make money off of it. They see in this world where they've gotten so crazy to the right in terms of what they've convinced their people to vote for and who to put in office, that all they're doing is like a cancer eating away at real institutions that might have the chance to do good, only so that these scum suckers can make money off of it. That's why they want to privatize schools and get rid of Disney even. Like they just want to make money off of stuff.
Yeah, but I do think though, like if they could flip a switch and turn all of the public schools into private schools, that would not by itself satisfy them. They'd love to have the money, but they also do not want certain types of education, even aside from the profit motive.
But I think that framework allows them to make the changes that they also want.
Sure, definitely. You had referenced it. We'll just briefly mention. There's Bonners Ferry, Idaho. Public library there getting inundated with complaints about a number of different books, more than 400 young adult books with LGBTQ characters, scenes describing sexual activity, oh no, or invoking the occult, which by the way isn't real. Here's the issue, none of those books are in the library. And the people don't care. Good. They don't care that the books aren't there and you can't get them. You literally can't read them. You can't open them. They're not there. You can't look at the cover. You can't even judge the book by the cover because the cover isn't there. But that isn't good enough. They're preemptively attacking the idea that somewhere else there might be books. These people have lost I don't want to swear. They've lost their minds, basically. This is the Karenization of America, but dispatched at librarians, who I think we can all agree have had it too easy for too long. And something needs to be done to take them down a peg or two. Anyway, with that, oh God, really fast. Can we go to this last graphic, number 13? No commentary. A woman in Katy, Texas called the cops on a book. There was a book and she called the cops because she found it to be unacceptable. She wanted her grievance against the book to apply to the entire school district.